Hi, this is Mike Fry, and you are listening to the We Effing Told You So podcast. Today is September 22nd, 2025, and today's installment is Vermont's Representative Becca Balint's recent vote shows what is wrong with the Democratic Party.
So this is tough. It's a trap. Republicans are setting a trap. They're using this moment of collective national misery right now and fear and despair for their own political purposes. And it is so craven.
That was Democratic Representative Becca Balint of Vermont in a video posted to her social media explaining why she voted for a resolution honoring the life and work of Charlie Kirk, who was tragically murdered in front of a crowd of thousands of people earlier this month. She describes the vote as a trap and as craven, points with which we are in 100% agreement with her about. The praise and admiration for Kirk was wrapped in the resolution's language opposing political violence, which apparently is what made this a challenging vote for Balint. As she explained in the video, she did not want anyone to be able to claim she was refusing to vote against political violence if she didn't vote for the resolution. That is the craven trap she was speaking of. A number of other progressive voices in the Democratic delegation voted in favor of the resolution as well. Of course, she said, she and 100% of the Democratic caucus are 100% opposed to political violence. That's wonderful. And had the resolution been a simple statement condemning such violence, it would likely have gotten an affirmative vote from every representative on both sides of the aisle. But as Balint explained in her video, quote, "The resolution also goes on to say all of the ways in which we collectively support all of Charlie Kirk's ideas." Now, this is highly problematic because he said things that denigrate the LGBTQ community, denigrating women, and Black women in particular, end quote. Have a listen.
The resolution also goes on to say all the ways in which we collectively support all of Charlie Kirk's ideas. Now, this is highly problematic because he has said things that denigrate the LGBTQ community, denigrating women and Black women in particular.
That is where we as fellow progressives began to have some issue with her message because Kirk's speech went far beyond denigrating. He literally called for gay people to be publicly killed by stoning in, quote, family-friendly executions. So vitriolic was Kirk's anti-gay rhetoric that shortly after his killing, a follower of his threatened to shoot up a gay bar in his honor. Inciting violence is far more and far worse than simply making denigrating comments. The trap Republicans had set, according to Balint, was to get Democrats to honor their homophobic, misogynistic, xenophobic, violence-inciting racist as a natural hero. Balint is right. That is absolutely craven on the Republicans' part, and not surprising to many of us. We should point out that if it had been a simple matter of standing against political violence, why was there not a similar resolution put forward following the horrific murder of Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman and her spouse? Why were they not honored in a similar way or even mentioned in the current resolution? But we don't understand why this resolution felt like such a trap or was difficult at all. Because if you don't agree with the resolution, you simply do not vote for it. A representative could offer changes to the language to remove the parts with which they disagree. Or they could stand up on the House floor, akin to what Senator Booker did earlier this year in the Senate, and explain why they're not going to fall for the craven trap the Republicans were setting. They could do all that while also declaring their condemnation of any political violence of any kind. Instead of doing any of those things, Balint recorded this video and posted it on social media explaining exactly why she was going to jump right into the craven trap the Republicans had set. After explaining how awful Republicans were for calling for the vote, she adds, quote, "So I want you to know this, I'm going to be voting yes," end quote.
So I want you to know this, I am going to be voting yes.
So, in an effort to appear as being against political violence, she and other Democrats voted to lionize a man whose public statements have incited it. The insanity of it is simply breathtaking. In casting these yes votes, Democrats proved to us that they are more concerned about appearances than they are about the actual substance of the bills and resolutions they are voting on, even when it serves to fuel the Republican narrative. That means they are representing themselves and not their constituents, and that means they are unworthy of holding the offices they currently occupy. Balint's excuse boils down to doing something atrocious in order to avoid potentially being falsely accused of doing something else atrocious. As crazy-making as her vote was, her explanation for it makes it even worse. She couldn't come up with another plan other than walking right into the craven trap the Republicans had set while also shitting all over a large swath of her own constituents? Really? That's all she could come up with? And she still wants us to vote for her next time? Democrats keep letting Republicans manipulate them as they did in this case. Even a representative with whom we share progressive values went down the path set by the Republicans. These same kind of things keep happening over and over and over, and it's part of the reason Democrats are viewed as weak and feckless with abysmal approval ratings. It's not their progressive values causing the poor favorability ratings, it's their anemic responses to our toxic political climate. If they fail to step up and do better, our nation will be lost, and we will only be able to say, "We effing told you so." You have been listening to the We Effing Told You So podcast. You can find us on Substack, Spotify, YouTube, Blue Sky, and any place podcasts can be found. Please like and subscribe and share on your social media. And thanks for listening.